have one customer. I really enjoy this part. Our machine is the only machine to use all three at the same time. But there was so much behind that. When I was doing all of it, it was so hard for me to focus on the content or the staff or any of it. So it was just too much. No one really knows how it works.
Today we're at Laser Studio & Co. with Nat, the founder. Nat, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. If you've seen Nat through our podcast, she was on the episode where she's talking about growing a team. So if you haven't listened to that, go have a listen to that. Today we're going to speak to Nat about her business, where she started, how she got here, what it's currently doing.
Yep.
And then she's going to show us a couple of her little tricks in the treatment room. So Nat, tell us a little bit about Laser Studio & Co, where it started and where it is now.
I started when I was 21, 22 years old at home in Craigieburn. I didn't have one customer. It was purely just went for it. And now fast forward, I don't know how many, it's 5 years later. I've got a shop. I've got 7 employees now. And a lot of customers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I basically work from home now. I'm not in clinic too much anymore. The clinic sort of runs itself, has a manager and all the stuff underneath it. But yeah, it's doing really well, and I'm achieving what I wanted.
So obviously 5 years, it wouldn't have been an easy journey to get to where you are now. Just so people know, you're located in, I know I said this before, Essendon, Baskerville. It's on Baskerville Road.
Yeah, well,
Essendon.
Yep, well done. Yep.
Memory is still
Yep,
intact.
yep.
Since we are sitting in the spot. But that plunge that you first took, you were in Craigieburn, you plunged to a whole different area.
Yeah.
Where, 20 minutes, 30 minutes away?
Yeah, it depends on traffic, but yeah, basically 28 minutes away, yeah.
Why such a big jump? Yeah, why did
To
you
this
make that
area?
move? Yeah.
Majority of my customers are actually from this area. So I knew it's where I wanted to be. I find Essendon sort of central to, all of Melbourne.
Yeah.
And yeah, no one really liked Craigieburn, where I was from.
Yep.
Yeah,
Fair
so
enough.
I knew this was the area I wanted to be in.
You knew the spot. And obviously your facility, it really sits in well with the area, how it's fitted out and things like that. Tell everyone kind of, I guess, the services you provide, because you do provide more than just laser.
Yeah.
That's where the co, I guess, comes into it. Yeah. See,
Yeah.
I'm on.
Yeah. Mainly, my main goal was laser hair removal. And then we also offer lashes and brows, teeth whitening, and microdermabrasions.
So you have a few rooms, four rooms in here. And how does it all run? So obviously, you've just taken a little bit of a step back, and tell us how it currently runs without kind of you being here 24/7 like it used to be.
Basically, I was doing the lasering, the bookings, the content, all of it. Yeah, all of it. And then I got my clinic manager, Alana, so she will manage the staff, the rosters, the pays, and then I've got my content and reception, Tash, and then the actual laser therapist as well that will perform the treatments, rebook their clients. So everything is sort of, everyone's got a role that sort of covers what I was doing all on my own. But it's definitely good. It was much needed, because when I was doing all of it, it was so hard for me to focus on the content or on the staff or any of it. So it was just too much. So palming it out was really good.
Been able to build yourself into that position, but for many years you obviously
did it by myself.
Did it all. Wore all the hats.
Yeah.
So take us through how laser actually works. Some people might not actually know it or do it. So tell us how it works.
I really enjoy this part because no one really knows how it works. Basically, there's 3 laser wavelengths out there. So there's a laser wavelength out there that purely picks up on blood and cells that create hair. Then there's another laser wavelength that picks up on the follicle of the hair. Then there's another laser wavelength that picks up on the pigment, so the color of the hair. So
wow.
Yeah. So then there's all machines out there that only use one of those. So our machine is the only machine to use all 3 at the same time. So you're basically getting a much better treatment, because 3 little laser wavelengths are shooting down into your skin, trying to give you the best result.
Wow.
So for example, darker skin tones, they could never use that laser wavelength that picked up on pigment because it would pick up on their skin tone rather than the hair follicle, causing a burn. So they would say no fake tan, all this stuff. And then for clients that had red and light brown hair or blonde hair, they couldn't get lasered because the pigment wasn't there. That didn't work for the next two. And then, although the one that picks up on the blood and the cells still identifies it as a hair, so it scratches out the pigment.
Yeah, because I was told in the past that because I had blonde hair,
you couldn't get lasered.
Couldn't get lasered. Yeah. Lucky I changed it here.
What can I say?
Wow. Yeah. That's very interesting.
Yeah, so it's really cool. And then there's a lot more that goes into that. Then there's like hair cycles and where you're at in your hair cycle, and trying to make every client's in a different journey in their hair journey. So trying to work out where they are and then sort of changing the appointments for them. Every person's, we do all the brain working. We just ask you a million questions and then we work out how to get you the best result.
To see results with laser, how many sessions would someone typically need?
It depends on what you're wanting to see, and every customer sort of varies. Although typically after one session, you should definitely see somewhat of a result, a difference, I should say. Although we like to say to people, do 6 consistent sessions, majority of your hair should be gone. We say roughly 80% of your hair should be gone. 20% of hair should be growing back each month. Although around this time, we sort of like to space your treatments out. As much as we want the clients here, we understand that they shouldn't be here if they've got no hair. So we try to sort of push them away from us.
And prioritize the client's needs before.
Yeah,
that's good. I guess it also takes time. Is it different? I know for sometimes men with different hormones, or is it kind of the same?
It's really hard to say. Like they say, female hormones, we need more sessions. Look, going off my experience, males typically do get a much better result, quicker result, and hair doesn't grow back. But there's many factors that could come into that too.
Yeah.
And then some women would say like, oh, I've got, polycystic ovaries or endo, and they think they're not going to get a great result, and they might get a better result than someone who has hormonally nothing wrong with them.
Yeah.
But there's a whole heap of things that go into it, and then there's a whole heap of questions that make no sense as to why it wouldn't work for someone who is hormonally completely fine, who has, example, dark hair, who's not taking any medications. Yeah. So
it's all person to person.
But majority of the time works very, very well. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, speaking about all this laser, I think it's time to get into one of your rooms and keep going to a few more questions.
Let's go.
Bang. All right. So we are now in the clinical room that the laser therapists treat out of. We're going to go through a few more questions before Nat shows off her skill a little bit. So to be a therapist here, is there a skill qualification? Is there something that you need to do to become a therapist?
Not necessarily, although it is good if you've got like a diploma of beauty therapy or some sort of cert in beauty therapy. And then there's also the laser certificate as well that you can get. I like to do a lot of my training in-house, and then I sort of get the girls certified on my end.
Okay.
Because even if you are certified, I still will do the training in-house and get you certified again my way.
And what does the training kind of look like? Is there a certain amount of time someone has to spend with a therapist to be able to work in the clinic, or?
Legally or my way?
Your way. Oh, are you illegal?
No, different.
I'm joking.
For me to get them certified, it depends on each therapist. Some might need 3 weeks of training, some might need 3 months.
Right.
Until I think they're ready to be in the room, then I will get them.
Okay, so what's legal? Okay, then that's probably a better way to explain
Legally,
that. Legally,
I think it's a 2-day course.
Oh,
yeah.
But for you,
for me, it depends.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to say the person knows what they're doing.
Yeah, regardless of you wanting to be employed here. Yeah.
You've got your own systems under the business.
Yeah.
That's beyond legality, which is perfect because you want to make sure the person that's treating your patients,
correct.
Or are they patients? What are they called?
Clients.
Clients. Clients. Yeah, that's what they want them to call.
Yeah.
Are getting treated by the right practices.
100%.
What would you say would be the most difficult thing about running a cosmetic studio? Could be from when you started, now?
From when I started, it was definitely all the time and effort that went into it that I feel like no one saw. They just saw me in the treatment rooms and thought, oh, cool, Nat, the laser therapist.
Yeah.
But there was so much behind that. In making sure they had bedroll, like just anything, content, replying back to messages, and all the time that went into that I didn't actually have time for that.
Yeah.
So going home at 10:30 at night, having 1 hour to do all of that, and then waking up, repeat. Yeah, so now it's a little bit different. Now there's more things in place to make it flow a lot easier. But yeah, that was very difficult.
And it could be a very, like, your word limit for the day would be overused every day.
Yeah, I had the same conversations, I reckon, 12 times in a day.
Yeah, so how do you go managing that? Maybe once you get home, or
when I got home, if any of my family asked me the questions that a client had asked me, I would
write them off.
Yeah, don't ask me that question.
Yeah.
At the time, it was my wedding.
Trying to set that up.
I hated that question. I mean, it was coming from a place of care, like, how's your wedding planning going? But it was triggering because I was like, I don't have any time to plan my wedding because you're here. But at the same time, I wanted them there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a
little bit of both.
Yeah.
Now, before we get into seeing your amazing service, just want to kind of ask what advice you'd give to people who are starting or trying to get started into the beauty industry.
I think to really believe in yourself, and if you've got that dream and that goal, to really believe that you can achieve that, because you will, and just keep working at it. You know, keep getting your inspiration up and keep putting your hours towards it, and it should definitely succeed.
Amazing. So we've pretty much prepped for you to do a little bit of a laser so people can see your service. Unfortunately, what's something people should do before they come to the treatments?
Shave.
Shave.
If you do not shave, we cannot treat. So please shave.
Yeah, so unfortunately,
yeah.
First time shaving with a razor, clipped some areas.
Did you put like
bit of water?
Just water, cream?
A little bit water. No, I didn't have cream. I don't use a razor ever. I use a trimmer for my beard.
Next time you should use a shaving cream. For sensitive areas, shaving cream.
Next time I'll know that.
Yeah.
So here's fine though.
Yeah, you look completely fine there.
Thank you.
I tried my best. A little bit.
Yeah, my next a bit chonky. So we'll show a little bit of a treatment to the areas that we can show.
Yeah.
And then thank you for having us come in today, speak about your business, kind of showcase the area and the space a little bit.
Thanks for coming in. It's been great.
Found this valuable, be sure to follow along for the remainder of our 30 and 30 series, and if you want to support this business, check out the details below.